Good morning, everyone. I've been following this, and this morning, Reuters reported, February 24th, WHO says it no longer uses pandemic category, but virus still emergency. The World Health Organization no longer uses the classification pandemic, but the COVID-19 coronavirus outbreak remains an international emergency that is likely to spread further, a spokesman said on Monday. Yeah, it's an outdated term, full of description and classifications, which I'll show you in just a minute. Back to this. Fears of a coronavirus pandemic grew after sharp rises in new cases reported in Iran, Italy, and South Korea. Although China relaxed restrictions on movement in several places, including Beijing, as its rates of new infections eased. The Geneva-based WHO declared the 2009 H1N1 flu outbreak a pandemic, which turned out to be mild, leading to some criticism after pharmaceutical companies rushed development of vaccines and drugs. So here's a quick meme. It says, "Can't have a pandemic if you stop using the word pandemic." Ooh, you're thinking, aren't you? Thinking guy. And here is the apparently outdated, or current, if you believe the current WHO website. Current WHO practice. Okay, alert for 2009. Okay, so here are the categories of a pandemic. Phase 1, no viruses circulating among animals have been reported to cause infections in humans. In Phase 2, an animal influenza virus circulating among domesticated or wild animals is known to have caused infection in humans and is therefore considered a potential pandemic threat. Phase 3, an animal or human animal influenza reassortant virus has caused sporadic cases or small clusters of disease in people, but has not resulted in human-to-human transmission sufficient to sustain community-level outbreaks. Limited human-to-human transmission may occur under some circumstances, for example, when there is close contact between an infected person and an unprotected caregiver. However, limited transmission under such restricted circumstances does not indicate that the virus has gained the level of transmissibility among humans necessary to cause a pandemic. Phase 4 is characterized by verified human-to-human transmission of an animal or animal-human influenza reassortant, yeah, I think that's it, virus unable to cause community-level outbreaks. The ability to cause sustained disease outbreaks in a community makes a significant upward shift in the risk for a pandemic. Any country that suspects or has verified such an event should urgently consult with WHO so that the situation can be jointly assessed and a decision made in the affected country if implementation of a rapid pandemic containment operation is warranted. Phase 4 indicates a significant increase in risk of a pandemic, but does not necessarily mean a pandemic is a foregone conclusion. Phase 5 is characterized by human-to-human spread of the virus in at least 2 countries in one WHO region. While most countries will not be affected at this stage, the declaration of Phase 5 is a strong signal that a pandemic is imminent and that the time to finalize the organization, communication, and implementation of the planned mitigation measures is short. Phase 6, the pandemic phase, is characterized by community-level outbreaks in at least one other country in a different WHO region, in addition to the criteria defined in Phase 5. Designation of this phase will indicate that a global pandemic is underway. During the post-peak period, pandemic disease levels in most countries with adequate surveillance will have dropped below peak observed levels. The post-peak period signifies that the pandemic activity appears to be decreasing. However, it is uncertain if additional waves will occur and countries will need to be prepared for a second wave. So, multiple cities, multiple regions, human-to-human transition. Here is BBC News reporting 45 minutes ago, or maybe an hour and 45 minutes ago, coronavirus, Iran denies cover-up as death toll rises to 12. Here's Ontario, and maybe it'll be updated. I'm not sure. We've got one more, as reported by CP24. There was a person on a flight on a Montreal to Vancouver flight, but they're in Toronto. So yeah, here's a new confirmed positive case in Toronto. That's what that is. And here is the cruise ship CP24, third passenger of quarantine cruise ship dies of coronavirus. And so we're not going to, a cruise ship passenger who's been hospitalized after testing positive for the new virus died on Sunday. The third fatality from the Diamond Princess, Japan's health ministry said. The ministry also announced 57 more cases of infections from the ship, including 55 crew members still on board and 2 passengers who had infected roommates and are in a prolonged quarantine at a government facility. With the new cases, 691 people have been infected on the ship, or nearly 1/5 of the ship's original population of 3,711. Japan has confirmed a total of 838 cases, including 4 deaths from the virus, which first emerged in China, including those on the ship. So the latest fatality is a Japanese man in his 80s who was among the first group of people developing symptoms when Japanese health authorities ordered a 14-day quarantine of the ship on February 5th. Very interesting. Here's another one. South Korea and Italy, novel coronavirus cases top 79,000 among worsening outbreaks in South Korea and Italy. And this one is coronavirus updates, 5 dead and 200 infected in Italy as Europe braces for COVID-19. So, I mean, if they were following the 2009 phases for a pandemic, well, pandemic might not be such a bad word after all, right? But currently, they're just being sneaky. Right? Can't have a pandemic if you don't use the word. So what is this? Well, I mean, clearly it's not a pandemic because, well, we just stopped using that classification. No problems, everyone. I wonder what they call it now. Thanks for watching, everybody. This is a serious situation. I think this should be taken seriously. And I mean, I'm not saying hair on fire emergency, but I feel like the Western governments and governments around the world, well, are behaving similarly to the WHO, right? And putting their heads in the sand and thinking they're being smart. But if this happens even in Western countries like Italy, well, I mean, it's serious news, right? Japan, Italy, South Korea, these are not taking this lightly. So I think that it's interesting that the rest of the world seems to be, right? Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. That was just a quick one and one I wanted to do separately. So I hope it's helpful. Check out CanadaPoly.com and CanadaReport.co and have a wonderful, wonderful